There is a saying, a person is as great as his thoughts. This is an eternal truth, proven over and over again in the lives of successful people throughout history. Napoleon Hill, in his famous book Think and Grow Rich, said, "Whatever a person constantly thinks about, their life eventually becomes the reflection of those very thoughts." Then why is it that most people cannot succeed? Is it because they do not think? Or is it because they fail to discover their own potential? Today's story will help you find the answer to that question. So, listen to the story till the end. I can promise you, this video has the power to change your life. Once, at a city railway station, there lived a beggar. This beggar survived by asking for alms from the passengers traveling on the trains that stopped there. One day, as he went about begging, he noticed a wealthy-looking man wearing a suit. The beggar thought, "Surely this man is very rich. If I ask him, he will give me a lot of money." So, the beggar approached the gentleman and began to ask for alms. But the businessman looked at him and said, "Do you always only take from people? Have you ever given anything in return?" The beggar was surprised and replied, "Sir, I am just a beggar. I survive by asking from people. How can I possibly give anything to anyone?" The businessman said, "Since you cannot give anything to anyone, you also have no right to ask anyone for anything. I am a businessman, and I believe in exchange. If you have something to give me, I can give you something in return. But if you have nothing to give me, I cannot give you anything either." Then the businessman boarded the train and left. The beggar sat thinking deeply about the businessman's words. He thought, "All these years I have been begging, but no one ever told me this." The businessman said nothing bad. "Truly, if I cannot give anything to someone, how can I ask from others?" Then the beggar thought, "Perhaps this is why people do not give me much. Because in exchange for begging, I cannot give anyone anything." Then he thought again, "I am just a beggar. What could I possibly give to someone else?" Still, he realized that from now on, whoever gives him alms, he will give something in return. For 2 days, he did not beg at all, only thinking about what he could give. On the third day, when the beggar sat at the station, he saw some flowering plants across the platform. He thought, "What if instead of asking for alms, I give a flower to each person?" The beggar decided that from that day onward, he would give a flower instead of just asking for money. So, he plucked some flowers and took them to the trains. Whenever a passenger gave him money, the beggar would give them a flower in return. The passenger happily kept the flower. The beggar continued this practice every day. After some time, he noticed that people were giving him much more money than before. As long as he had flowers, people were happy to give him coins. But when the flowers ran out, no one gave him anything. One day, when the beggar boarded a train to beg, he saw the businessman sitting there. The beggar hurried to him and said, "Today I have something to give you. If you give me money, I will give you a few flowers in return." The businessman gave him some money, and the beggar handed him some flowers. The businessman was impressed and said, "Now you have become a businessman just like me." Hearing this, the beggar started thinking again. He realized, "How can I truly become a businessman?" After much thought, the beggar understood that now he could succeed in life because he had learned the secret of success. The beggar got off the train, looked up at the sky, and shouted, "I am not a beggar. I am a businessman. I too can become wealthy, just like that rich businessman." People around him thought he had gone mad. After that day, the beggar was no longer seen at the station. 6 months later, at the station, 2 men in suits met and shook hands. The first person asked, "Do you recognize me?" The second person replied, "No, I do not. I think this is the first time we are meeting." The first person smiled and said, "We have met twice before on this train. I am the beggar you once told what I should do in life. And the second time we met, you told me who I really was." The second person laughed and said, "Ah, I remember. You were the beggar I once refused to give alms. The second time, I bought flowers from you. But now, wearing a suit, where are you going? What do you do?" The beggar replied, "Yes, I was that beggar. But today, I am a successful flower businessman. I am traveling to another city for my business." He continued, "The first time we met, you told me a law of nature. We only receive when we give. I felt that truth deeply, but I always thought of myself as a beggar. The second time, when you told me I had become a businessman, I realized that people were not giving me alms. They were paying for the flowers I gave. Everyone bought the flowers because they could not get them so cheaply anywhere else. To others, I seemed a small vendor, but to myself, I still thought I was a beggar. After your words, I realized that I too was a small businessman. Using my savings, I bought many flowers and started a flower business. People love flowers, and their love made me a successful businessman. After finishing their conversation, the two men parted ways. Life depends on our perspective. If you see yourself as small, you will remain small. But if you discover your inner potential, one day you too will achieve something great. Never see yourself as small. See yourself as strong, successful, and capable. Because when your thoughts change, your future changes. If you like this story, please like, comment, and share it to inspire others. Thank you for staying with me. See you again with another inspirational story.